Hi, my name's Phil Gardner and welcome to Fun with Boxes. Well, today I'm taking a look at a rather special game that's coming to Kickstarter very soon. I'll pop the date up on the screen, but I believe it's going to be live in the next few days. And that game is a rather interesting looking game called Entombed. And this is designed and published by John Sherman. John was very kind and arranged for a copy of his prototype of the game to be sent to us for us to have a look at. And just what is Entombed? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's a game for 1 to 4 players, will take around 20 to 40 minutes to play, and is for ages 10 plus. So, what is Entombed, the board game, all about? Centuries ago, an unknown pharaoh built a pyramid and ordered a ritual to celebrate its creation. Unbeknownst to him, one of his many conspirators desecrated the ritual, angering the gods who cursed the pyramid. After escaping the 4 vengeful inhabitants, his former servants, the pharaoh ordered the immediate burial of the pyramid, entombing the 4 inhabitants. It's now the 1920s and the height of Teutonia, and Professor Abiana Lawanda has discovered the pyramid. Excited and unaware, she has failed to notice other interested parties have been observing her movements. Seeing her entering the pyramid, they follow her in, oblivious that the path behind them is closed. They are all entombed in the center of the pyramid. They must now survive until the pyramid exits open and be the first to escape. And before I tell you any more about the game, let's take a Fun with Boxes look at what you get in a game of Entombed. So the aim and objectives of the game: navigate the pyramid whilst avoiding the inhabitants, which will be controlled by you, the explorers, and the lost souls, reborn explorers, who are trying to prevent your escape or steal your soul. Survive until the exits open and be the first explorer to escape to be declared the winner. If all explorers become lost souls, then the game is over and no one is declared the winner. Setup: place the map into the middle of the table and decide on a layout. And the rulebook recommends you start off with this layout, and there are alternative layouts at the back of the rulebook. The first thing you'll need to do is to slide the walls into the standees and place them onto the lines between the appropriate squares so that they match the layout formation. Each player picks one of the 4 explorers and place one of them on the 4 central squares, and this will be your start square. You also take the corresponding cue card and place it beside you. Place each inhabitant, 4 in total, on one of the 4 corner squares. Take your corresponding Lost Souls figure and place it beside you just off the board. Prepare the Who, Where and Lost Soul movement cards and shuffle each of these to make a separate deck and place them within easy reach of the explorers. And the last explorer to visit another country will move first, so give them the turn 1 card. Shuffle and deal the inhabitant reminder cards. Players will get 1 inhabitant card each. In a 2 or 3 player game, the explorer with the turn 1 card will receive an extra inhabitant card. In a 2 player game, 3 inhabitants are chosen to use and the extra inhabitant is returned to the game box. So when the unused inhabitant appears on a Who card, that inhabitant is skipped and the next inhabitant on the card takes their turn. Place the 8 wall movement tiles onto the indicated squares. And then finally you decide how many turns before the exit will open, and the game recommends 15 turns. And you place a cube on that turn countdown tracker space. Round order. Each round is split into 4 phases, going clockwise and starting with the explorer with the turn 1 card. Each round is split into 4 phases. Firstly, All explorers move between 0 and 3 squares. Any explorer who has become a lost soul is skipped at this point. Secondly, all lost souls will move. Reveal a lost soul movement card, and lost souls move that number of spaces. The third phase is the inhabitants move. Reveal a who and where card, and all pictured inhabitants move that number of spaces. And finally, the fourth and last phase is move the cube 1 footprint closer on the turn countdown track towards the exits open icon, and then pass the turn 1 card clockwise along with the extra inhabitant reminder card in a 2 explorer game. Now, with regards movement, there is a movement etiquette, and that is you cannot backtrack on yourself during your move. That is, you can't move, say, 2 squares forward and 1 square backwards. Lost souls and inhabitants must move all of their movement capacity unless they are entering a dead end or attacking an explorer. Only one attacking lost soul or inhabitant may occupy the same square as an explorer. The pyramid passageways are extremely narrow. It's not possible to pass through anyone, and you cannot use one character to continually change the layout of the map by crossing the same wall movement squares repeatedly, because that just wouldn't be right. Reshuffling deck cards. Each of the Who, Where and Lost Soul movement decks contains a reshuffle card. If the reshuffle deck card is revealed, shuffle all cards both used and unused together from that deck and draw a new card. Use the new card as if it was the one initially drawn. If the reshuffle card from the Who deck is revealed, that is deck reshuffle and inhabitants, both the Who deck and the inhabitant reminder cards are reshuffled. Each explorer is then dealt a new inhabitant reminder card. And in a 2 explorer game, the explorer with the turn 1 card receives the extra inhabitant. This is now the inhabitant you are responsible for controlling. Being attacked by an inhabitant. The inhabitants are unhappy about your intrusion and are trying to convert you into a lost soul. If an inhabitant lands on the same square as you, you have been attacked and immediately become a lost soul. A lost soul is an undead, mindless, soul-eating shell of the explorer you once were. Once you become a lost soul, swap your explorer counter for your lost soul counter. Being attacked by a lost soul. If you are unfortunate enough to become a lost soul, fear not, your game is not over. If you are able to land on the same square as an explorer, you steal their soul and regain your humanity. After attacking an explorer, swap your lost soul counter for your explorer counter, whilst they will swap their explorer counter for their lost soul counter. Wall movement tiles. Anyone who passes through or lands on a wall movement tile during their turn may rotate up to 2 pieces of wall 90 degrees at the end of their turn for every wall movement tile they touch. Walls can be rotated either clockwise or anti-clockwise, so long as it does not fully block off an area or is already occupied by another wall, such as the outer perimeter. The same wall can be rotated twice, but one wall end must stay connected to its point of origin. Remaining stationary on wall movement tiles does not result in additional wall movements during your next turn. In the round end, after the inhabitants move, the turn tracker moves down 1 space, and when the tracker reaches 0, the exits open the 4 corners of the pyramid, and the game continues until an explorer has escaped. The first explorer to reach one of the exits is declared the winner, and if all the explorers are converted into lost souls, then the game is drawn and there are no winners. Well, there you are. That's how you set up and play a game of Entombed. And oh my goodness, what a puzzle of a game this is. It's such a clever and interesting game because you're not just playing your explorer. No, you also will be controlling up to 1 or more of the inhabitants of the pyramid. So you could be using them to your advantage, perhaps sending them after one of the other explorers to try and change them into a lost soul, or perhaps using them to move over the wall movement tokens so that you can rearrange the pyramid walls to hopefully corral your opponent into trouble, or perhaps get yourself out of trouble. And the game is not over if you happen to be captured and become a lost soul, because you can hunt down one of the other players and swap souls with them. So it is very much a game of cat and mouse and clever puzzly movement of trying to activate the walls and get them twisted and turned into a shape or pattern that best suits you, whilst you wait for the turn tracker to track down until eventually it hits the exit open space. And then you need to hot tail it out of the pyramid and get to one of the four corners and win the game. All the while, of course, being hunted down and thwarted by your opponent's moves as they are trying to manipulate the board and change the walls to best suit them. So, all in all, this is a very clever game, and I have to remind everyone again that this is a prototype copy of the game. Obviously, things will change as the Kickstarter progresses. One of the other clever things about the game as well is reshuffling the movement decks and the who you move in and how far they move in, but not only just reshuffling them so you don't get to know exactly where things are going to end up or how many movement points they're going to have, but what you're also going to be doing is changing who controls the four inhabitants of the pyramid. So you could be quite happy to be moving one of them closer to one of your opponents, but then all of a sudden a reshuffle happens and they get control of it and send it back at you. It is quite an interesting game, and one we really did enjoy playing. Well, if you enjoy the look of this game and it's something you quite fancy playing, keep an eye out for the Kickstarter, which is due any day now. And I'd like to thank John once again for arranging to get a copy of the prototype sent to me. I really did appreciate that, and I really did enjoy playing the game, and I look forward to the final version of it. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed taking a look at Entombed with me. If you did, please consider clicking the old like button and also hitting that subscribe button too. That would be really nice of you, and it will help to grow the channel. Well, as always, thanks so much for watching. Please do take care, and bye for now.